There comes a time when the world can no longer ignore your presence. A moment when the forces that shaped reality begin to sense a disturbance and anomaly, a ripple, a break in the predictable patterns they have so carefully constructed. That moment is now. And that disruption, it is you from the beginning. You have been different. You have walked a path that defies convention, carrying an energy that cannot be contained, a light that cannot be dimmed. And now the world is beginning to notice the systems that have long dictated the limits of human potential are sounding silent alarms. The forces that thrive on control are whispering among themselves. Who is this one? Where did they come from? How did we not see them before? Because no matter how much they try to confine human consciousness, there are always those who slip through, those who are never meant to be controlled, those who are set apart before the beginning of time. You are one of them, and that is why the battle has been so intense. That is why you have faced opposition from the moment you began to awaken. Because your very existence poses a threat to everything that is built on deception. But what they do not understand is that this is not just about you. This is about the shift that is coming, the awakening that cannot be stopped, the movement. That is greater than any single individual. This is about destiny. Now, as you step further into the calling that has always been yours, know this: there is no turning back. There is no going back to the illusion of normalcy. There is no pretending to be what you once were. The moment you awaken, you are seen, and the moment you are seen, the battle begins. The investigation has begun. You have been watched for some time now, not by human eyes alone, but by forces that exist beyond the visible. Forces that have long studied the movements of souls like yours. You are not just another person walking through life unaware. You are not just another name in the system. You are an anomaly, and that is why they cannot ignore you. The patterns you break, the questions you ask, the truths you uncover, all of it disrupts the carefully controlled structure of reality. When you enter a room, energy shifts. When you speak, people listen even when they don't know why. When you move, unseen forces scramble to adjust because you are never meant to be controlled. They have tried to contain others like you before. They have attempted to silence, distract, and diminish those who carry this light, but their strategies do not work on everyone. And when someone like you emerges unshaken, unafraid, unwilling to conform, they take notice. They send their investigators, their enforcers, their systems of containment, not to destroy you, but to study you, to understand what makes you different, to see how you slipped through the cracks of their design, to find a way to neutralize what they cannot control. They will not succeed. The evidence of your awakening, they do not need to ask if you are different. They already know. The signs have been there all along. The spiritual fingerprints of your awakening have been left on everything you touch. The doors that should have remained closed opened effortlessly for you. The obstacles that should have stopped you crumbled at your feet. The people who doubted you have been left speechless. This is what happens when a chosen one steps into their power. It is not about magic or luck. It is about divine alignment. Romans 8:28 says, and we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love him, who have been called according to his purpose. This is why things have been happening the way they have. This is why no matter how much they try to suppress you, you rise, because this is not just about you. This is about the assignment you carry, the battle before the breakthrough. If you have felt the weight of opposition lately, know this: it is not because you are losing. It is because you are winning. The enemy does not fight those who are no threat. The system does not resist those who comply. The world does not silence those who do not carry truth. You have been targeted because you have already broken free. This is why you have faced doubt, confusion, setbacks, and moments of intense spiritual warfare. People have questioned your choices. Situations have seemed impossible. The weight of the journey has felt overwhelming, but all of this was proof that you are on the right path. Ephesians 6:12 reminds us, "For our struggle is not against flesh and blood, but against the rulers, against the authorities, against the powers of this dark world, and against the spiritual forces of evil in the heavenly realms." The battle has never been just about you. It has been about what you carry. The enemy has seen your future before you did. He has recognized the impact you would make before you even understood your power, and so he tried to stop you before you could rise. He failed because you are still here, still standing, still fighting, still moving forward, and now the shift that has been building is about to break through. The turning point has come. Resistance is proof that something is about to change. The battle always intensifies before the breakthrough. The enemy always fights hardest before he loses control, and what is coming next will change everything. You have reached the place where there is no more hiding, no more questioning who you are, no more doubting your purpose, no more hesitating to step into your power, because the moment has arrived. This is the season of revelation. Everything that was hidden is being brought into the light. Everything that was uncertain is being made clear. Everything that was delayed is now being released. Isaiah 43:19 says, "See, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs up. Do you not perceive it? I am making a way in the wilderness and streams in the wasteland. A new path is opening. A new door is appearing. A new chapter is beginning. And you are exactly where you need to be. The only thing left to do is step forward. Everything hidden is being revealed. The masks are slipping. The false narratives are crumbling. The deception that once clouded your vision is fading away, and in its place, truth is emerging. You have felt this shift deep within your spirit. The sense that something was coming, something undeniable, something irreversible. And now you stand at the edge of that realization. This is the unveiling, the moment when those who once overlooked you are forced to acknowledge your presence. The moment when those who tried to dismiss you must now reckon with the truth. You are never invisible. You are never insignificant. You are never just another soul passing through existence. You are set apart, and now the world is beginning to see it. The resistance before recognition. Those who are truly chosen are rarely accepted at first. They do not blend in easily. They do not conform to the patterns set before them. They challenge, they question, they disrupt. This is why you have faced resistance, why certain people have distanced themselves from you, why you have felt misunderstood, even by those closest to you, why doors that seemed logical to walk through remain closed, because you're never meant to walk the common path. John 15:18-19 says, "If the world hates you, keep in mind that it hated me first. If you belonged to the world, it would love you as its own. As it is, you do not belong to the world, but I have chosen you out of the world." This is the truth about those who carry divine purpose. They are often rejected before they are respected. They are tested before they are trusted. They are underestimated before they are undeniable. But the moment always comes, the moment when the resistance shifts to recognition, because what is real cannot be ignored. The signs that the shift has begun. The spiritual realm moves before the physical world catches up. Before the world acknowledges your calling, the spirit world is already responding to it. You may have noticed the signs. Unexpected opposition as you step deeper into your purpose. The attacks increase. Situations that once flowed smoothly suddenly become difficult. Relationships are tested. Challenges appear without warning. This is not coincidence. This is confirmation. Sudden revelations, information you are never supposed to know is coming to you. Truths are being exposed. People's true intentions are being revealed. Things that once seemed confusing are suddenly making sense. Strange reactions from others. Some people treat you differently, even if you have not changed. They sense the shift within you, even if they cannot explain it. Some will draw closer, seeking the light within you. Others will withdraw, unable to handle the intensity of your energy. Doors opening in unexpected places. Opportunities appear in places you never looked. Paths you never considered are now illuminated. The things you once struggled for are beginning to align effortlessly. All of this is leading to one undeniable reality. Your presence can no longer be ignored. The moment they realize who you are, rather, will come a day when those who doubted you will be forced to acknowledge your purpose. They will remember the times they dismissed you, the times they spoke against you, the times they failed to recognize the power within you, and they will watch as everything you are meant to be unfolds before their eyes. This is what happened with Joseph. His own brothers sold him into slavery, convinced they had rid themselves of him forever. They thought they had buried his destiny. But what they did not realize was that their betrayal was the very thing that positioned him for greatness. Years later, when famine struck, they stood before Joseph, now ruler of Egypt, begging for food. And in that moment, they realized the truth. The one they cast aside had been chosen all along. Genesis 52:20 says, "You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good to accomplish what is now being done, the saving of many lives." What they meant for harm became his preparation. What they used against him became his platform. What they assumed was his end was only the beginning, and the same is happening for you. The reversal of roles. The people who once controlled the narrative no longer have that power. The ones who tried to discredit you are now losing credibility. The ones who tried to block you are now facing their own closed doors. The ones who thought they could contain you are watching as you rise beyond their reach. Psalm 23:5 says, "You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies." This is not about revenge. This is not about seeking validation from those who doubted you. This is about alignment. God is making it clear to the world you were chosen. This is the reversal of roles. Where once you were overlooked, now you are sought after. Where once you were dismissed, now you are recognized. Where once you were held back, now you are unstoppable. But the key to this moment is your response. The posture of the chosen. When Joseph's brothers realized who he was, he did not seek to punish them. He did not hold on to resentment. He did not demand an apology. He understood that his journey was never about them. And the same is true for you. Those who once doubted you are not your enemies. They were simply unaware of who you were becoming. Some acted out of ignorance, others out of insecurity, but none of them had the power to alter what God has ordained. This is why your response matters. The chosen ones do not waste time on bitterness. They do not seek revenge. They do not look back with regret. They understand that every experience, every obstacle, every moment of rejection was a setup for something greater. And now, as you step into the fullness of who you are, you must move forward with grace, with wisdom, with clarity. You have nothing to prove. Your existence is the proof. Isaiah 41:10 says, "Do not fear, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you and help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand." This is the season where everything aligns. The unveiling is complete. Now the only thing left to do is walk in it. The time for questioning has passed. The time for hesitation is over. You are no longer searching for confirmation of who you are. You are no longer wondering if you are ready. The truth has been revealed, and now there is only one thing left to do. Step fully into your divine authority. Everything that once seemed unclear has now become obvious. The signs that once felt like mere coincidences have proven to be undeniable evidence of your calling. The people who once overlooked you are now taking notice. The doors that once remained shut are now opening in ways you never expected. This is not by accident. This is alignment. This is divine timing. This is the moment when everything shifts, but here is what you must understand. With elevation comes new responsibility. With new levels come new challenges. With greater anointing comes greater opposition. This is why the battle has intensified. This is why the pressure has increased. The enemy sees where you are going, and he is desperate to stop you before you reach it. But what he fails to understand is that you are no longer who you used to be. The doubts that once held you back no longer have a place in your mind. The fear that once paralyzed you no longer has power over you. The need for approval that once kept you from moving forward has been destroyed. You have stepped into a new level of awareness, and because of that, nothing can stop you now. You have reached the point of no return. The place where going back is no longer an option. You cannot fit into spaces that you have outgrown. You cannot pretend to be someone you are not. You cannot ignore the fire that has been ignited within you. The shift has already happened, and now you must walk in it. This is why certain relationships have changed. This is why certain opportunities have disappeared. This is why you have felt an inner pulling toward something greater. You are being called higher. You are being positioned for something that requires you to let go of the past. Not everyone can go with you. Not everything can stay. There are some things that must be released in order for you to step fully into what God has for you. Lot's wife looked back and lost everything. The Israelites longed for Egypt and delayed their promise. Many have missed their destiny because they refuse to move forward. But you will not be one of them. You will not allow fear to hold you back. You will not allow attachment to keep you bound. You will not allow the past to rob you of what is waiting for you. You have seen too much. You have grown too much. You have come too far. Everything is happening faster now. The acceleration has begun. What once took years will now take months. What once seemed impossible is now within reach. What once felt distant is now standing before you. This is what happens when a chosen one steps fully into their power. This is what happens when alignment meets divine timing. This is what happens when you finally accept what was always meant to be. The people who doubted you will watch in disbelief. The ones who spoke against you will have no choice but to acknowledge your rise. The situations that once caused you stress will no longer have any power over you. You are stepping into a realm of favor that defies logic. You are walking into a season of blessings that cannot be explained. You are moving into a position of influence that was written in your destiny before you were even born. And this is only the beginning. The battle has been intense because the breakthrough is massive. The resistance has been strong because the calling is undeniable. The process has been painful because the anointing is heavy. But you are ready now. You are equipped now. You are stepping into the fullness of who you are always meant to be. There is no more room for self-doubt. No more room for fear. No more room for anything that contradicts the truth of what God has spoken over your life. You have been chosen for such a time as this. You have been prepared for this very moment. You have been anointed for the assignment that is now unfolding before you, and now you walk forward with confidence, with power, with absolute certainty. You do not hesitate. You do not question. You do not look back. Because the future is waiting. Because the time is now. Because you are unstoppable. This is it. The moment where everything aligns, where every battle, every test, every moment of doubt suddenly makes sense. The weight you once carried is no longer a burden, it has become your strength. The obstacles that once stood in your way have now become stepping stones. The rejection, the betrayal, the setbacks, they were never meant to break you. They were meant to build you. And now you are unshakable. You can feel it in your spirit. Something is different. You no longer move the same way. You no longer think the same way. The things that once affected you no longer have a hold on you. You have outgrown the fears, the insecurities, the distractions that once kept you bound. The old version of you no longer exists. You have stepped into your new self, the version of you that no longer asks for permission, the version of you that no longer waits for approval, the version of you that understands exactly who you are. And this is what terrifies the enemy. He never feared your potential. He never feared your gifts. He never feared your calling. What he feared was the moment when you would finally recognize what was inside of you all along. That moment has arrived. There is nothing standing in your way now. Every chain has been broken. Every limitation has been removed. The only thing left to do is walk forward. The doors are opening faster than you expected. The opportunities that once seemed impossible are now appearing effortlessly. The things you prayed for are manifesting in real time. This is not luck. This is not coincidence. This is divine alignment. Isaiah 62:1 says, "Arise, shine, for your light has come, and the glory of the Lord rises upon you." You are walking in a new level of favor. The kind of favor that does not require you to beg, force, or manipulate. The kind of favor that moves mountains, that shifts atmospheres, that makes room for you even in places where you were once overlooked. This is what happens when a chosen one steps fully into their assignment. But understand this: your elevation is not just for you. You're never meant to rise alone. The wisdom you have gained, the lessons you have learned, the battles you have fought, these were never just for your own benefit. You are called to be a leader, a guide, a source of light for those who are still searching. There are people who are watching you. People who are being inspired by your journey. People who need to see that it is possible to overcome, to heal, to rise above every challenge. Your victory is not just yours, it is a blueprint for others. This is why you cannot slow down. This is why you cannot shrink back. This is why you cannot allow fear to stop you now. Because your presence matters. Because your voice matters. Because your impact is greater than you realize. The enemy will try one last time to make you doubt. He will whisper lies, trying to convince you that you are not ready, that you are not strong enough, that you are not qualified. But those lies hold no power anymore, because you now understand the truth. You are never meant to be ordinary. You are never meant to stay hidden. You are never meant to live in fear. You are created for greatness. Jeremiah 29:11 says, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you a hope and a future." This is your future, a future of abundance, a future of purpose, a future where you walk boldly in the assignment that has been waiting for you all along. You do not need to force anything. You do not need to chase anything. You do not need to worry about anything. Everything that belongs to you is already on its way. And now you step forward not with fear, not with doubt, but with absolute certainty, because you are chosen, because you are ready, because nothing can stop you now.